In hindsight, though, when you look back now, obviously gifted nutrition was a bust. We don't have to go through that. But in hindsight, do you say, man, I should have just stayed with the Sure Money, man? I would have all that money in the bank right now that I don't have right now.
If I could have gone back, I would have tried to do something a little bit more exotic as far as the contract is concerned.
Yeah.
I probably would have asked for some type of rev share via social media.
Sure.
Maybe pick out a couple different SKUs that were prominent in certain countries that they had me flying toward.
Yeah.
Because look, if you send me to, let's say, India, and you say, hey Phil, we need more market share there, and you're willing to be transparent, which a lot of companies don't want to do with an athlete.
Yeah.
But if they're willing to be truly transparent, that'd be like me working with you at Species, and you say, hey Phil, I need to send you to these 10 countries. These are our current numbers, and based on this, we would pay you bonuses on these numbers.
Which makes sense. Makes sense.
So if that could have if that conversation could have existed back then yeah, in hindsight, I would have taken it. But a lot of the time, I think personally, I've been a fucking pioneer when it comes to these deals because it made companies have to think, and a lot of them were just like, "Nah, we don't want to think like that." Why? Because they don't want to give power to the athlete. You think, here's the funny part, Dave. A sales guy for a supplement company can make anywhere from 4 to 6% bonus on a sorter easily. But who are they marketing? Fucking athlete.
Yeah.
The athlete has to get on stage or bust his ass inside and out of the gym. And for everybody watching, sorry for cussing so much. It's just the way I am. I'm actually being who I am right now. Like,
that's good. That's what we want.
But an athlete is not even offered 1%.
Right. You're right. Yeah. So you were willing to act almost as a sales guy, and say, hey, look, I'll prove to you that I can sell this product, but reward me for it.
Yeah, and here's the funny part. I could say, I've already proved it.
Yeah.
And then they would say, and then the company easily can say, because they own the back end on the website and all the numbers, and they're not a publicly traded company, so they can skew these numbers however they want and make the athlete think, well, you're only worth $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month or $10,000 a month or $100,000 a month.
Right.
But where are these numbers coming from? Because I can tell you this, when an athlete gets cut, it's because those numbers don't lie.
Right. Right. No, you're right.
So that's where I think a lot of athletes, and this is where the Phil Heath podcast is going to have to come out in 2019, because I have the knowledge through experience and just overall economics. Athletes out there, they ask me all the time, how can I get sponsored and this and that? And you know what I tell them, Dave? And I'm sure you've told people this too. Right. You have to provide added value, added worth, because I can make money without you.
Right. Right. Well, you know what? You got what you're basically saying is you got a very expensive college education in business and how how business is done in the bodybuilding and supplement world by leaving Muscle Tech. Really, is what you're saying.
I learned a lot from going from Metrex, also because I paid attention. I was one of the first. Actually, I was the first IFBB pro to go to Body Power.
Right.
I could go on and on and on about how that brand exploded. I was part of that. I saw it. I paid attention. I understood by having shows, having my own shows.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Let me ask you this question, though, Phil, because you mentioned before when you left Muscle Tech, you obviously took a big financial hit. Gifted Nutrition was a disaster. You were going through a divorce. How did you, as Mr. Olympia, enable yourself to focus on that show enough to win these shows? Because that had to be a tremendous, tremendous burden. I don't even know how you slept at night during that time.
Well, yeah, I didn't sleep. If people remember, I was training in the gym past midnight.
Yeah, that's crazy.
A lot. And I was training during the day. I just wasn't filming it. Mm-hmm. I did everything in my power to keep my ass in that gym, because what is the average person going to do? They're going to start drinking. They're going to start partying.
Yeah.
having bad habits, and that idle time that a guy like me would have is the devil's time, big time. And I've seen this happen with other athletes outside of our sport, and I'm like, you start having you start having that entourage telling you how great you are and sucking you dry, and I had that shit. I just realized, like, when the shit was really going down, no one really had my back. Mm-hmm. No one was coming over the house trying to, console me. And maybe they just figured, well, Phil's strong, he's stronger than I am. He'll get through it. But, I would say I was actually a little bit more crushed when my father died, because I had guest posed that same night. Mm. And that was really tough, because you're like, wait a minute, I now have to do speeches and talk to fans when I just found out my dad passed. And he passed at 64 years old. And I can't make it about myself right now. I have to make it about total strangers that all they want is a selfie. And I feel devalued as a human being because I have to give this to them. Otherwise, they'll talk shit about me on social. They could give a fuck about what I'm going through. So that kind of, upset me quite a bit. But then I realized, I was like, Phil, it's not their job to console you. You're not owed anything. What you need to do is focus on, like I said earlier in this conversation, what tools do you currently have in your hand? My tools was this. Right. My tool was this. I didn't have to lift 500-pound bench. I didn't have to do 800-pound squat. I just had to give a shit. And I did that, and that's how I won. And let's be honest, I mean, after Generation Iron, I wasn't the most well-liked individual. So I had to battle mental, physical, emotional warfare on a daily basis. And I just because I curse doesn't mean I'm not a man of God. I just have a different relationship. And I just like, you know what, Phil? You can either be a total pussy and seriously, I could, you fall off, right? You get fifth and you start making excuses, you start complaining and you start pointing fingers. Or you just say, become the fucking, like what would Michael Jordan do? What would Kobe Bryant do? Like, Kobe
That's the
Bryant.
Difference. Yeah, between winners and losers. You know how to win.
Right. Kobe Bryant was like, man, I could go to prison over this rape allegation bullshit, right. The divorce pending on that. I'm going to score 81 fucking points in a basketball game. I'm going to prove to the world that I'm still the man. Right. I'm not going to pull, no disrespect, but I'm not going to pull a Tiger Woods and get in his feelings and then feel like he owes everybody else an explanation about anything that went wrong in his life. And then now, after 1,835 days, it took him that many days to win one contest again. Sure. It wasn't because of his physical problems. It was because of his mind. Yeah. And that's just my opinion. I told myself, Phil, you can go through divorce. You can go through your dad passing. You can go through people that fucked you over with your companies and all sort of stuff. But what you cannot do is lose this show. You lose this show, you are finished. Yeah. You're done.
You put a lot of pressure on yourself, and you pulled it off. So I mean, that we have to, obviously you got to get a round of applause for that. But that's the mindset of a champion. I always say that there's people who know how to win, and there's people who know how to lose. Unfortunately, there's a lot more people who know how to lose. Now, let me ask you this question, because you and Jay Cutler were very tight for a while. He was kind of like the guy who really discovered you, in a sense, or told people about you. You had discovered yourself, but and you guys had a friendship, and he was kind of a mentor, at least while he was beating you at the Olympia level. Once you beat him at that Olympia, it seemed like your relationship changed. Is that an accurate assessment?
It's definitely something I don't take the pleasure in talking about. But I'd say it's not easy, probably being him. I think it more revolved around how he was received. Because look, you see it with all athletes, and here's something that I'm not deflecting at all. So bear with me. I got to see how I treated other athletes when I didn't become the man at the University of Denver playing basketball. Mm-hmm. And I had friends getting drafted and making millions of dollars and this and that. Us being at the same level at one point, or me being better than them, and then watching them go do incredible things. And then it's like you're happy for them, but then you were like, fuck, what about me?
Sure.
and worry about my pats on the back and how can I stay relevant and this and that. And I'm not going to speak for Jay, but what I'm going to say is that I would assume that he went through some of that process of, like, I don't want to say losing the title, but he did not win. And he had to make a big pivot in his life with regarding to business.
Sure.
And he decided to do that, make a comeback, and it didn't work the second time. Yeah. But it did probably for the business. So then watching me still do my thing and him having to witness it, he probably wanted to be up there with me, battling it out once again. Because the heart of a champion don't die.
Sure.
Your muscles can die, but this don't die. So I can only speak on that. I can say that it's definitely not easy. I understand it because I had to deal with that in my early 20s. Him being as old as he is now, I'm sure he wants to relive that through someone else, and that's probably why you see him interviewing Sean Roden and stuff, because he wants to be, you want to be around that energy. You want to be around that shit. And that's just my own assessment.
But was that depressing to you that, like, you guys had a friendship and then it kind of, like, just stopped,
Well, I mean, I think personally that he can call me, I don't have no problem or anything like that. I just think, sometimes we're in different time zones. And we're in different timelines of our life. He's post-career. You know what I'm saying? He's doing other shit. I'm still trying to, like, figure out my last 9 holes of this golf course.
Yeah, I got you.
Keyword 9, right? Keyword 9. So we're trying to figure this out. It's just like you could have a friend that you've grown up with and shit like that, and you went to high school with, and you haven't talked to him for 10 years. Right. But if you saw him, you could still be cool.
Yeah. Would you guys be cool together if you? I mean,
we never had a confrontation.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think that speaks volumes. So, look, I mean, my goal right now is to just focus on things that make me happy and, dealing with the stresses that I currently have and trying to reduce that stress by being positive and still being a winner at life and not just on stage.
Right. Phil, if I had to ask you this question, what do you think the Phil Heath's main reason for being on this planet is? What if you had to answer that question? You don't have to give me a long explanation. What's your main reason for being here? Yeah. Why is Phil Heath here? It's not to be Mr. Olympia, is it?
Can I say a 2-part real quick?
Yeah, definitely.
I'll do one funny one serious one, because I came from a different fucking planet, number one.
There you are.
And okay, so now we'll be, that's just me joking, but I think I'm here to change lives. I think I'm here to remind people that things aren't always going to go your way, and sometimes you have to be willing to take the hits in life and still stand there alone. I've stood there by myself in a lot of this. You're going to be loved and you're going to be hated, and it's how do you mature through this? How do you create wisdom through this? People have been able to see me get trashed for shit that didn't make sense. And, I had to take it. And, I'm an imperfect person trying to chase greatness. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to try to be a beacon for people that when they say they want the job, they want the girl, they want the success, they want the elite status, it's going to come with a lot of pain, sacrifice. It's easy to say. It's hard to do when life happens. Sure. And when people aren't cheering for you and they're not celebrating you. People celebrate champions when they're done or when they're dead, not when they're around usually. And in this sport, I can't say I've been celebrated more than I was the opposite. But the next person that wants this type of success has to look at me and say, Phil Heath dealt with some shit. But wait a minute, but we loved him in times, like when I was going against Jay, they were like, oh, in 2010 you could have beat him and this and that, blah, blah, blah. But then in 2 years you hate me. Or when I first came out in the scene, I was the hottest shit. But then when I started making more money than the pros that have been doing this for 10 years, they hated me. These are all things, right, that you knew
Sure.
about.
Yeah, no, it's
So,
true.
so I'm here on this planet to share with people. I've gone through more than you guys know, and I'm still cracking funny jokes. I'm still willing to go shake hands, but I will put you in your fucking place if you run your mouth too much. But that's because I'm human.
Right.
And when I die, it ain't going to be Mr. Olympia. It's going to be Philip Gerard Heath. He loved life and he kicked some ass.
Right.
That's it. That's all it needs to say. He loved life and his loved ones and he kicked some ass and he wanted you to do the same because the world is designed to kick your ass. So when I say go be a fucking dream killer, it means that someone's trying to be out there against you when you're at the top. When you're at the top, you got kids, Dave. You ain't going to want your son to be in the back of the class. You want him up front. And if that kid is smart as shit and he's in the back, he's trying to blend in instead of stand the fuck out.
Yeah.
And that's me. I ain't blending in with a bunch of morons and this and that. I'm trying to stand out. And because of me doing that, it comes with a lot of...
Of course.
Because they want you to... It's just like when you're a kid, man, when you're trying to do right, your buddy down the street doing wrong, calling you names because you're not doing wrong with them. So this is the same thing as I'm 30. I'll be 39 in December. I'm still dealing with this shit. It's just different.
Yeah. Well, you'll probably deal with it the whole life because that's who you are as a person. Last question. I'm going to give you the last question here. After winning 7 Mr. Olympia titles, Phil, and living the life that you've lived, 39 years, what do you know for sure in life? If you had to give someone advice, this is what I know for sure after 39 years.
That you're going to live and you're going to die.
I'll take that. Phil.
I mean, it's simple. You're going to live and you're going to die, but it's how you live that'll make it all worth it in the end, and you will have no regrets in life. And that's the best thing I can say about it. You're going to live and you're going to die, but you have to live. You have to live. You can't let the world tear you down, because when you're lying there on your deathbed, I just need to say this real quick.
Yeah.
You're going to have, man, this is deep. I would share with this. You're going to have 4 wives. First wife, you're going to have your career. You're going to have your riches. Okay? You're going to have friends, loved ones. Okay? So when you die, you look at that first wife, which was your career, and it says, I can't go there with you. You look at that next wife, and it's all the gadgets, all the cool shit, all the the money and this and that. You can't take it with you. Them sandals can't take it with you. I can't die with you. That next one, it could be your loved one, it could be your wife, it could be your partner, it could be anyone. Sorry, I can't die with you. Last thing you're going to die with, that one wife that says, I'll die with you, is your soul. And if you don't work on your soul, you done fuck this whole thing up. And that is the pinnacle of why we are here. It's not to focus on those other 3 things before we work on ourselves, on our soul. So that's what I want my life to be about. Because all the other stuff, although it's great, I enjoy having cool stuff. I enjoy having a great career. I'm still 7-time Mr. Olympia. I'm still tied with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't have these complaints. I live on a fucking golf course. I drive nice cars. I travel the world. I got a beautiful wife. I got all that shit going for me. And then I lose a show and then it acts like it's not. No, work on your soul. So I'm going to be in a timeout. Man upstairs, give me a timeout. I didn't win, but I got to have surgery. I'm going to be in a timeout. And this right here is going to be, you're like, wait, let's zoom in. This right here is what I'm going to be doing during that recovery time. Writing out what life means to me and how I can become a better person, not just a bodybuilder. And I'm very thankful, Dave. I mean, I'm glad. I'm going to tell you something, man to man. I appreciate this conversation because.
Thank you for being so honest and forthright. I think this is really what the fans wanted to hear. This is what
I
wanted to hear.
A lot of people are going to have negative opinions about you and about me and this and that. Fuck all that shit. This was awesome. I appreciate it. This was a long time coming, and maybe it took it obviously took for me to win these Sandals, not be sponsored by AMI, become a free agent, and then lose the Olympia to be able to have more substance to have this conversation.
Absolutely.
Maybe it wouldn't have worked well in 2010 or 2008. Those times. It meant more to me. It meant more to me now. Hopefully it means a lot to these viewers. Dave, I appreciate it. You have respect. Right on.
Well, you talk about working on your soul, and I think that you've worked more on your soul maybe in the last 365 days than you have your whole life. And I think that happens every single year of our lives. And so in that sense, I think that, whatever you went through obviously has meaning to you. And the meaning that you attach to it is really what will define you and help you evolve as a person. And I think you've realized that. And I think that that's a tremendous, dare I say, gift that you have.
Well, we all have them, Dave, and you know what? Like I said, I mean, it's just all about how we maneuver, how we spin, juke, whatever the things that come out in life that are bad, and do our best, man. It's just about doing your best. None of us are perfect. I see it every day on social. None of us are perfect. It's just about, at the end of the day, are you really just existing, or are you trying to live a decent life to where you ain't got regrets, and that someone can literally say that they knew you and they respected you, not for being some dickhead or this, that, but they really could say that they knew you, and they will miss you. That's saying a lot. And I hope my family feels that way. I think they do. For all the fans out there, I mean, just stay tuned. I'm going to have a lot going on.
Yeah, you'll have to keep us updated on all the projects you got coming up, and best of luck. When's the surgery?
October 18th. So
okay.
I'm sure, once I get, because I'm going to stay out in Cleveland for observation for like 5 days.
Right.
So that will be the most important time, to kind of figure out the next step.
Sure.
So once I get back to Denver, I'm gonna probably do a post of some sort,
okay,
and just to give the fans some insight, and then just move on from there, and wish everybody a happy holiday season, because I'm probably gonna be stuck.
Phil, you hear that noise in the background? That's called kids. Are you planning on having any kids?
Absolutely. I definitely want that big time. I think that's a part of life.
Yeah, sure.
And I want to experience that. I had that experience when I was married, raising another man's child for 22 years. I mean, not 22, 12 years, at the age of 10. I want that experience with my own DNA. I want to see what he or she looks like. I want to, I want that feeling. It doesn't matter. It's not about like, oh, I want the feeling of holding my kid at the Olympia. It's like, no, I just want to hold my child, man.
You'll love it. You'll be a great dad. I'm sure of it. Phil, thank you for taking all the time out of your schedule. I don't want to hold you up anymore. Thank you for being so forthright, and good luck with the surgery. Keep us updated, and best of luck in the coming months.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, and that's going to take us to the end of another episode of Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. I'm Dave Palumbo. We'll see you next time. Great interview, Phil. Awesome.
Perfect. Thanks, man.
Very good.